What is up? This is Joe Adams, and welcome to the Relentless Pursuit Podcast. What we do on this podcast is bring in guests from all different backgrounds, all different walks of life, to share their story and everything along their journey that led them to where they're at today. We're here to inspire. We're here to make an impact. If that is for you, check us out, like, subscribe, all those beautiful things. If that is not for you, I don't know what your problem is, but you need to jump on board today. Thank you. And without further ado, I would love to introduce our guest today, Dr. John Bijoy.
Let's go, Joe.
Welcome.
I'm excited to be here. Let's talk about sleep. Let's make each other better. Let's make the world a better place.
Yes, sir.
Because the world needs to heal. The world needs to get better. We can all do by discovering their superpower. We all have it. It's free. It's within ourselves. The power of sleep.
Yes, sir. That's what he's known for. And guys, I will tell y'all before, he does his introduction a little bit. I like to come into these things if I got the opportunity to just not know anything about somebody, and I trust Terry. Terry's awesome. I love Terry. And he shot your information to me, connected us. He said he'd be a great guest on the podcast. I take his word for it. And he's never rubbed me wrong. And so he's a very trustworthy individual. And I'm like, hey, let's do it. And we lined it up. I don't know that much about you, so I'm learning everything right now. But I do know you specialize in sleep.
Yes.
And that's your thing. And being someone that goes, and sleeps on average 5 hours a night, I can learn a lot from you today. I'm excited.
Yes.
So,
Joe, the challenge is the problems of sleep doesn't hurt like a toothache, right? So we put it off. But years of not sleeping well, or even months of it, will catch up with all of us. Right?
Mm-hmm.
We need about 7 to 8 hours as adults. Children, small children, babies need a lot of sleep. But just think about it for a second. There's some way the misinformation, people say, hey, you can sleep when you die, right? I tell those people, hey, you might get your wish true. So there are few people within us, less than a percentage of all of us who need less sleep. Elon Musk is one of the classic examples. He doesn't need much sleep. He's going. He actually thought everybody is like him, so he made everybody work so hard. Then finally he realized, hey, he's different. So he goes on national news and say, hey, I'm different. Don't be like me. You all need to sleep longer, right?
yes, sir.
So we need, why is that 7 to 8 hours? Because sleep is very dynamic. There are many stages and cycles. So we need a percentage of all of that to get the rest. The creativity happens in our sleep. The healing happens in our sleep. When we have a problem in our lives, what do we tell everyone? We say, let's sleep on it, right? Mm-hmm. Nobody says, let's exercise or diet on it, right? So we know that power, but we compromise for many reasons.
Yes, of course. And, and I was told this I go to a therapist, and, I was telling him about my lifestyle, and he said, you may be one of those people that does better with less sleep. I'm not really sure, because he, doesn't matter what you think of the guy, but he said, Donald Trump sleeps, I think, on average 4 hours a night. And the guy, regardless of what you think, he's a productive person. Right. And he was an example, kind of like Elon Musk. But he said there's a very small percentage of people like that. I haven't discovered. I am curious, and I'll ask you because, I know if I sleep longer, sometimes I end up being more tired. So I don't really know. I don't know where I'm at. I mean, I think it's a mindset thing too. I just keep going until I'm burnt out. But, obviously, I don't know. We'll see.
So it all depends. If in the morning when you wake up and you feel good, rested, not in the first second or in about 10 minutes, you feel good, then you've slept enough. Doesn't matter the number of hours, right?
Okay.
So you had good quality sleep. But let's say you feel tired, then let's say I'm going to increase my sleep time, because we are all walking with a sleep debt. So when we sleep 7 or 8 hours, and despite that, after a week you're still tired, then you have a sleep debt, mm-hmm. or you have a sleep problem. So it all depends on how you feel the morning off when you wake up.
So it's almost like, in a way, everybody's diet is different, right? We all react to foods differently. Correct. You can't just give somebody a cookie cutter thing and expect it to work for everyone.
Correct.
So some people do well with just meat. Some people do well with just veggies. I mean, it all varies. So I think same thing with sleep, right? You need to test out until you find out what works for you specifically.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. Well, real quick, before we dive more into that, just tell us really quickly, like, okay, so you are a sleep doctor pretty much. What else do you do as far as things go in your profession? And obviously he's got this book out, Nobody's Sleeping. So you guys check that out. I'm going to keep putting that out there. I'm going to read it soon. And then we're going to dive into your backstory a little bit.
Correct. So from a young age, I wanted to make a difference. So I'm from India originally.
Okay.
I went to med school when I was 17 years old. I have had many close death experiences, which maybe it's a different podcast. I want to change the world. So.
No, you feel free to share any of that. Like I'd like to gather some of those things to make it a little bit more personal too. So,
right. So I always see, what is the purpose? Why is that the chances are in my favor to live, right? So I tried different things, sports, chess, whatever I could. But I always found education came easy to me. I was good at it, right? So I said, what's the place to come? So, I said, I'll come to America and be the best at it. So I specialized in 4 areas. I have asthma growing up, so I want to be a lung doctor. Then the intensive care unit absolutely fascinated me, the being there for people when they're dying. So it's a dying patient, me, and then there's death, right? So I've been, at that moment for many people's lives. So
interesting.
I know a lot about life, death, and even a little bit about afterlife because I see the soul living when people are dying. So,
yeah.
And sleep also was one of my specialties. So I'm board certified in all 4 areas. So always fascinated with sleep, right? When at a young age, med school, nobody sleeps. Then I always felt better if I take an exam after like a good 8 hours sleep rather than staying the whole night. I feel bad at the performance. So I knew there was something about sleeping the night off, any big events. So it was in my back burner. Then life happens. I was in the ICU. Where we stayed there 36 hours, long shifts. I don't think they do that anymore in in training.
Oh, that's good for you, right?
Yes. So I was able to survive all that. But, I feel tired, exhausted, bad mood, irritable, but found a way by taking naps. Then when my mom passed away, I had to deal with grief. I couldn't sleep. Then I had to overcome that. I sympathize with people going through grief. And then I started my business, a lot of decisions, employees, bills, couldn't sleep. So I had to find an answer to that. So through my own journey of 25 years and taking care of 50,000 folks with sleep problems, I said I'm able to find this holistic method because we have all the chemicals. People always want a chemical. We don't need any chemical. We have all the chemicals to sleep within ourselves. We are a melatonin factory, right? We are a GABA factory. We have all that. So we have to harness that. We have to give a chance for our own body to make that.
Of course.
So that's why I teach. The subtitle of my book is called The 7 Proven Sleep Strategies. So I said, what is, I reach, thousands of people, but this is a global problem. I call it the new pandemic, right? Mm-hmm. So everybody's walking with poor sleep, in a bad mood. They're not better human beings. They're not good employees. They're not good employers. They're not good bosses. The relationship is all messed up. The mental health is a huge problem. Sleep and mental health has a bi-directional relationship. So we are all walking with sleep debt. We are not in a good mood. Just imagine, last night I slept 7.5 hours. I worked out already. I've already been on a show. I traveled here. I'm ready to go because I have it. I figured it out, despite all my challenges. So I said, let me share it with the world. That's why I decided to write a book. And I'm on many shows. I was on News Channel 5 yesterday with Nick Barris in a live show talking about sleep. So my passion is to teach this to all over the world.
Okay.
So I'm on this mission and I'm ready to help as much people as I can.
That's awesome. I love it. And I'm inspired already. You got me fired up to get some better sleep at least, and I need to really pay attention to it. When did you come to America?
I came in 1994, so I've been here 30 years.
So how old were you? So
I was 24.
Okay, so you were born where in India?
It's in Chennai, India. Has a very special place, as especially being a Christian. Doubting Thomas came there and converted a lot of people into Christianity. I actually studied on that mount. It's called St. Thomas Mount.
Okay.
So I'm the descendant of the first church. The disciples came and started the first church, and Doubting Thomas came there and converted a whole bunch of people to Christianity. I am one of the descendants of the first church.
Nice. What was childhood like out there?
Oh, the best place to live as a child is in India, and especially where I grew up was nature. I was on a mountain. I went to school on a mountain, so we found a lot of experiments. We used to roll stones down there, find water geysers coming out, animals, goats.
That's so cool.
We had a fantastic, snakes. So I personally think the middle school should be in the outside. I think that's when I know the power of a middle school child. The brain is just exploding.
Mm-hmm.
We should not be in the concrete wall.
No.
And I think my personal growth happened on the hills of St. Thomas Mount, where so that's why I'm able to deal with a lot of things. So I know that now whenever I speak to school or authorities, I tell, hey, make sure you send the middle school kids outside. They will go to Harvard or wherever. They learn everything, life outside. They will come how to divert this water. What happens if this, rock's going this way? You'll figure the problems right there, not on the building. So that inspired me a lot. That's changed me. I'm a big proponent of that.
Oh yeah, I mean, I on my path, I emphasize nature all the time. We get comfortable in these concrete jungles. I think there's a massive disconnect with nature. It's much like sleep, right? It's this natural thing. It is life.
Correct.
And there's such a connection there. And when you shove people in these classrooms when it's beautiful outside and they need to be getting the sun and all these things that have an effect on your sleep and your daily life, it's extremely important to emphasize that. I agree with you. That's why my wife and I want to be able to have the opportunity to homeschool.
Perfect.
For that right there.
So you touched on the sun. We are all creatures. We revolve around the sun, right?
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, we are staying away from it, right? So there's something called the circadian rhythm, right? So it's a clock within ourselves. It's actually close to 24 hours and 30 seconds. Our internal clock is 24 hours. So we wake up, babies wake up at the crack of dawn because they know the sunlight is the clue, that goes to the brain and tells the brain to wake up. And so what happens that the moment we are awake in the morning, there's a chemical building up. It's called adenosine that puts us to sleep, and we are counteracted by the sunlight. Mm-hmm. So something happens in around 2 o'clock when the sun's coming down a little bit low and the chemical is building up. That's when you're so sleepy. That's when you're supposed to take a siesta or a tea time, right? So that's why, remember, we never go to any meetings around 2 because it's not successful, because we are against nature. That's not the best part. So, I take a nap when I can. My mom taught me that's a great thing. Even now when children know where dad is,
What's the optimal nap time? Because people, I know people that take like hour and a half naps, and to me that would kill me.
Great question. So nap around that time is good because you're following your body's
around 2, you said?
2 to 3. That's the time we are at a low. But it should be only for 20 or 30 minutes. See, because then the system wires up again.
Yep.
But if you're napping for an hour or 2, that means you are operating out of a sleep debt. So you're making up for the night before you didn't sleep or the weeks before you didn't sleep, and that actually worsens your nighttime sleep. So it is a challenge. So if you're napping for 30 minutes, great. But if you're napping 2 hours, that means you have a sleep debt or a sleep problem.
See, and there's a lot of people that do that. I personally, I'm right there with you. I do a 20, 30-minute nap, and I feel recharged.
Correct.
And it's funny you say that because yesterday I did have a meeting at 2, and afterwards I was I was just done. I could crash, and I didn't have time to get a nap in, and I pushed through a little bit. But I'm going to take heed of that. Try to time it around 2 or 3. I'm going to be like, oh, it's that time to do this.
So, we can do a lot. If you just follow our body's biorhythms, we are most awake at 7 a.m. and we are most awake at 7 p.m. So that's why we call primetime TV. The TV people know that. Mm. And we are most tired at 2 a.m. and 2 p.m. And I always know why the Titans lose because the third quarter, I call it the third quarter slump in my book, because that's when, I even looked at the statistics. The net point differential is the worst in the third quarter.
Really?
So just by being a fan and being there, I know we can change a few things by improving our performance. Or the easy answer is, in the NFL, everybody changes players, and we need to change the times too. Some team should never get stuck at 12.
Or what we could do is just like at that time, everybody takes a nap real quick. And then we start watching the game again, right?
Yes.
And then they're good.
But I'm talking about the players.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, the stands will all take a nap. The players will take a nap.
Actually, literally, it is true. You go to the next time the stadium and you see around 2, it's quiet. The whole thing is everybody is sleepy. They're drinking, caffeine, whatever, to get ourselves going. And the scores are going low too. So 7 a.m., we are rushing to our meetings. So if you are still tired at 7 a.m., that means you have a problem. Same thing at 7 p.m. You should be at prime in those two times. And you're sleepy around 2 o'clock. Guess what? There's 2/3 of less motor vehicles at night, but 2/3 of all accidents happen at night. Think about all the major disasters that has happened in this world at nighttime. Even the Titanic.
Yeah.
The captain he had a chance either to go forward or back.
He just like took that thing straight on.
Exactly. So the decision making, the Chernobyl 3-mile disasters, and even the barge that got hit. So everything happens at night. So you're not responsive. So you're supposed to be in bed. I tell if you're traveling and hey, do I stay in a hotel around this time? I just stay in a hotel. Don't go driving. You know how many people have accidents? Just the stats don't lie. So we can harness a lot of things by knowing your body's biorhythms and be the best version of ourselves.
It's such a simple fix, yet it's so hard for people to do.
It doesn't hurt. The sleep, if you have a toothache, you're going to go to the dentist quickly, right? So if there's a cancer growing, you're going to take care of it. But sleep problems, we ignore them because it doesn't cause pain. But it affects your heart. It affects blood pressure. It affects blood sugars. It affects your sexual function. It helps with controlling your, diet. The hormones that are secreted called leptin and ghrelin. If you sleep great, you have more leptin. Guess what? It's burning a lot of calories. If you don't sleep well, you have the ratio is altered and you have more ghrelin. Then we are more hungry. So when you sleep better, you don't go for all those, poor or high glycemic foods. So you make better choices. And especially in your field, workout. Guess what? When you sleep, you have human growth hormone, which is actually great for children. Babies actually grow in the morning because human growth hormones are, literally if you measure a baby, it grows more at sleep. But for adults, when you work out, your muscles need to repair. Human growth hormone is fantastic for glycogen metabolism and, tissue repair.
Of course.
So you cannot go anywhere. All your clients who are stuck, they need to focus on sleep. And all the people who are, in the weight loss path and they need to focus on sleep. Sleep is the foundation on which fitness and diet is built. Period. Full stop. Let's go.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. And a lot of the best athletes, whether it's bodybuilding or, you name it, they all talk about like sleep. Sleep's the most important thing.
Yeah. So one child asked, I think I put it on my Instagram too. Asked LeBron James, "Hey, of self-care, what is the best thing you do?" He said, immediately jumped on and said, "Hey, sleep. I focus 8 to 10 hours of sleep." The elite of the elite found that out. The elite athletes, the elite in the world, in anything they do, they've all figured it out. Sleep is the way. But
unless they're Elon Musk.
Yes, but he was born with a gift. President Trump, they're born with that gift, which we don't have. So, but the message that gets around, that's good enough for everybody. No, it's not. A few percentage of the people is good enough. See, that's where the misunderstanding happens. Mm-hmm. That's the word that gets around. It's not good for all of us. So we need our rest.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. I don't know. I think I might have the gift. I don't know. If I sleep 8 or 10 hours, I mean, I will have no energy that day.
So that's
it's interesting, but
because you might be waking up from a REM sleep, so you don't need a lot of that. When you wake up and REM sleep, wake up from it, then you don't feel rested.
Yeah, of course.
So that may be the answer for you. And there is another condition called hypersomnia, where people sleep a lot and they're still tired and they don't function. That's the opposite of insomnia, which is a much more common problem.
That's interesting. I just kind of brush over sleep. I think, is there any way, so everybody has like a sweet spot though, like you said, because I can tell you now, if I sleep 6 hours, it's like I have the best day.
Correct.
6 hours seems to be like, if I can get that, but 5's taking a toll on me a little bit. I can tell, especially anything less than that. So it's interesting to think about, and something I'm going to be paying attention a lot more to. I do want to know a little bit about your upbringing, though, like how maybe your family inspired you along this path too. You said you grew up in nature and stuff like that. Were you close to your parents as well?
Well,
You got siblings, all that?
Yes. Crazy story. When I was 11 months old, we had this major life-changing event. Me and my mom. My mom was a teacher. She was going for a teaching job. The bus rolled over a ravine, and 12 people were killed. And I was the only one that was escaped unhurt in the whole accident. Many people injured. So my mom spent about a year in the hospital, and that changed our whole life. I was raised by my grandfather. My sister was raised by my dad. My brother was raised by the other set of grandparents. So our family unit was completely destroyed.
From that accident.
Yeah, from the accident. My mom always says we were like a bird with the children, the babies, and the nest just fell on the ground. We were all scattered in different parts. And that is still true because we are in the different parts of the world right now. So the bonding that happens in children, till they're 5 never happened for us. So after like 2 years, there was one doctor, tried to save my mom's legs. Most of the doctors wanted to cut her legs off, but this one guy was like, no, we're going to keep it. And so thank God he did, because my mom was a cripple, but she was able to walk. That inspired me. I became that doctor in many people's lives,
Yeah.
In the ICU when things happen, hey, we need to let this person go. No, I'm going to try. So I was the honorary pallbearer in many, many funerals of that one doctor who changed my mom's life. So she was a teacher. She always knew, hey, we need to study. And she was that was the best thing we could do to get ahead. So all the 3 of us were valedictorians. My brother went on to become an engineer. My sister became a teacher, and I became a doctor. So we were the cream of the crop, the model students. We were best at everything we did. So the foundation was, the start was not good, but the foundation was good.
Yeah. And there's a lot of lessons there too. And I love that. I mean, and to see what y'all have obviously worked really hard to succeed. I mean, it says a lot about you guys based off that start. And I wonder, is it a cultural thing too, like to take education serious? Because you see a lot of people take it for granted here. I mean, you probably notice.
In India, education is the number one. People focus a lot on education because, statistically, we can get ahead by having a trade, or your gift, and you get more better jobs consistently over the long period of time. Mm-hmm. Different cultures are different. Here we pay a lot of importance to athletic ability and sports, which is not bad. And then so different cultures are different. But in the Indian culture, it's all about at a very young age, it's put on us to study well.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's always important. I was never a really good student, but not until I got older. I went to the military, and then I got out, and then I started taking school seriously. And the best semester I ever had was this last semester in the midst of like having my business and stuff. And I did 12 credit hours, and I aced everything. It's the best I've ever did with the most stress in my life. I don't know how I did it, but something switched to like.
I can tell you the answer. The fastest way a man can succeed is to get married and have a child. So
Oof, I will say, because it just gives you that much more purpose, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, because you see them and you're like, well, I got to do well. And if you don't, I think that's shame on you for not wanting to step it up. But I think that should be the best motivator there for sure.
Yeah, when I mentor young men and women, they said, we don't have enough money to get married. I said, hey, get married, and that's the fastest way to build wealth and to be more successful. I tell them to have a child. So you go to that success path much faster.
It gives you that drive.
Yeah,
yes,
exactly.
Sir. Yeah, and before we dive more into the sleep stuff, I do want to know why is it that you wanted to come to America? Like, what pushed you to come here?
Yes, it was all changed when I watched the Olympics in 1984. So I saw this one guy dominate, Carl Lewis. He won 4 gold medals. I said, wow, I want to do something like him in something, right? So I was 14 years old at that time. I said, So I was, like I mentioned, I was trying different things, but didn't have the athletic gene. So I had the academic gene. So I started doing. I said, "Wow!" So I want to do something for whatever it is, the best in everything. And of course, this is 84. India was not at that time. Now it's just exploding with growth. And then I said, where is the place it's happening? I said, it's always happens, everything in America. Even the Beatles had to come here to get that big hit and success. So I said, I'm going over there, and that's where I'm going to do.
Nice.
So I came here and specialized in all four areas, and that's what my skill set is. So Carl Lewis in 1984 Olympics inspired me, and I was just reminiscing when I watched this Olympics and saw Carl Lewis talk about his craft.
That's cool. And just wondering, do you love it here?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's, so two things, for me has been, my English is a second language in India, so my knowledge in English and my accent has probably gotten a whole lot better. I still have a little bit of it. So the knowledge and my vocabulary in English, and also my faith, that made the transition to this country so much easier. And I always believe this is a country, if you have the will and the drive, you can succeed in anything.
Yeah.
And only when you see the other side, how hard it is to get to do anything in other parts of the world, especially even in India, when I was there, it was hard to do something. If you have a mission or a vision, it's hard to fulfill this. This is the country, and we are so blessed. We can do the best. It's up to us. All the tools are there. Of course, you're going to have a little bit of problems anywhere, but if you have the vision and if you're ready to work hard, and you can have the American dream, and I'm living it,
Of course.
So I wanted to be the best. Now I wanted to spread this message about sleep, and I'm doing it.
Yeah, and I love that. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't share that mindset. They don't. A lot of people in America take that for granted as well, though. It's become so comfortable and easy to where people just want things to happen, but minus that will and drive.
Correct.
But to me, I understand it. Like I go all out. I push myself to every limit because I understand. I know where I can get if I just keep going forward, and that's what it takes.
Yes.
To get what you want out of life.
So, I'm also a counselor in most patients. I'm a stress coach. I tell people when they are at that point, I say, hey, it's easy. I literally write in my prescription prior, take a mission trip. Go to another place. Just see what it is. You come back, you are a better person. You are revved up. I said, wow, I got something unique. So I tell people, take a visit, not on a trip because you're going to see the 5-star hotels and all the resorts, but you want to go deep into the people and see one-on-one. A mission trip is perfect for everyone. That's my prescription.
Yeah, it reminds me of when I got out of the military. Just a little over a year after, a buddy of mine went backpacking through Southeast Asia. We went to 7 countries: Cambodia, Hong Kong, Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, and Bali. But we stayed in the hostels. And we went deep into the culture, and that really opened my eyes to the opportunity that we have here.
Correct.
And what I found interesting is there are people out there. It's a lot of those places, especially like Cambodia, are in third world conditions, and yet you see the community and see how they interact, and it's much happier and it's a lot friendlier as opposed to like a lot of places you go here. We have so much more, yet we're not as happy.
Yeah, when our human mind is also very, very, it's amazing yet confusing. I give this analogy, like when you have a phone and it's as a fast processor, when you get used to that processor, now then it's slow. You want the next one. But imagine the first processor, how slow it was. You remember the dial-up modem? That was great for us. Remember that?
Of course.
Now we want the fast, 4G. So human mind gets very comfortable with the comforts.
Yes,
very,
it does.
Very fast.
Mm-hmm.
But especially if you don't know how it was before.
Yes, of
so
course.
We don't have the compare and the contrast. We just have luxury, and there's no limit to the human mind, to how luxury. So that is the problem that we have, and the only way to know the contrast is by traveling outside the world.
Without a doubt.
Yes.
like Nietzsche said, you can make a heaven of hell or a hell of heaven.
Correct.
Right? So you can be in the worst conditions, but find the beauty in it.
Yes.
And appreciate everything and find the gratitude in just the small, simple things. Or you can have it all and be miserable.
Yeah, and we our baseline is at a higher level than anywhere else. This is the greatest country because we have a child who's born has got everything.
Yeah.
So it's hard to appreciate when you have everything. It's
It is.
only when you don't have, and then when you have something, you're going to appreciate.
Oh, without a doubt.
So,
Yeah.
and I think that's the problem. It's not a problem. It's a part of the culture we live in. I mean, so we are almost living every day in heaven.
Yeah. Everybody needs to understand this.
But we don't know what hell is.
Yeah.
Only when you know, then you know how it's better. So that's there's no fault of anybody. That's what we've given.
Yeah.
We're given this gift, and when we are given this huge gift, we don't tend to appreciate it.
Oh, without a doubt. And I think that's it. That takes constant work on your mind and your spirituality. I think having a spiritual appreciation and really honing in on that does give you higher purpose, and it helps you view everything a lot differently too. But also, like, constantly work on your mind. Say you are put in hellish conditions, can you still find the beauty there?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And still appreciate things, because some of us, it's like, say you got millions and millions of dollars. Who are you if that's all stripped away tomorrow? What do you have then? And that's something I think about often. What's in here? Yep. And what's your character? So, but anyways, that's really cool. I mean, you've really you've gone all out. You moved here and you want to be the best, and I'm not surprised that you just go all out in everything that you do. I'm curious, do you got a family?
Yes.
Okay.
I've been married for 30 years.
Nice.
I have 2 children, 27 and 23. Kind of normal, I think, but I've raised them as responsible adults. My daughter is in law school, and my son's, he's working, and he's also doing his MBA. So he's moving ahead. He's soon to get married. And so he's
Awesome.
on his path. And so we're blessed, so I always focused on my, some of the greatest advice I ever got is, you see with 2 eyes, let one eye be your family, one eye be your career. I didn't have the personal life, now I do. I back down from the load, the weight of the world by, being an ICU doctor. And now I have my own personal life. That's when I was able to write my book. I played tons of golf. I started playing golf 2 years ago. I even have a hole-in-one already.
Nice.
I broke in the 90s, so I'm working on it. I go, and I'm living a full life. So a man or a person usually has 3 lives: personal life, professional life, and family life. And unfortunately, you can only choose 2.
Yeah, I feel you there. You seem like one of those people that, like, if you take on a hobby, you got to do well at it.
Yes.
Like golf.
Yes.
Because I've had friends invite me to do golf. They're like, "Oh, you just mess around." I'm like, "No, y'all don't understand. If I start playing golf, I'm going to want to do well."
Yes.
I think that's something I need to tackle later on when I have the time to practice.
Yes,
Because I don't want to go out there and suck. I want to go out there and be good at it.
Yes, it's a battle. I've phrased this last time I was playing. I just discovered it's not fun. Men and women who are playing golf are battling it. You're battling the element. You're battling your ego. You're battling your skill. It's an ongoing battle for 3, 4, sometimes 5 hours.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, people are like, "Oh, it's not that serious. Life's not that serious." And I'm like, but to me, life is serious. Like, it's this one experience I have. I got to take it seriously. But I mean, I guess there's something to say about just relaxing, right? And I think, like you said, finding that personal time for yourself, that's what a lot of people that are close to me, they're like, "Joe, you just need to set aside some personal time for you," because to me, it's just work and my family. Those are those are my priorities, and I need to take care of those. So when I try to make that personal time, I almost feel guilty for it. Does that make sense?
Exactly. So it's all triangles of life, time, money, and mind is another triangle. So he who has the money has no time, right?
Yeah.
All his time is spent on making money.
Yes.
And in the end, when you have the time and the money, your mind is gone. You're too old.
Yeah.
So it's a balance. So, but you have to prioritize in your season of life, right? When you're young, that's when you need to do what you have to do. You have to prioritize.
Yeah.
There's always time for everything. So,
Exactly.
yes.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, we're going to do this, finish out this segment. We got 20 minutes or so left. So I want you to dive a little bit more into your book and, you know, cover some of that. When we bring you back, we'll cover more life concepts and whatnot. But I do, you know, I want to get your book out there too. And I want people to understand like the knowledge that's in there. So that way we can have a deeper understanding of these things.
So we are all in the pursuit of success. But, you know, it is an effort. You have to work out, you have to study, you have to be an athlete, you have to train. But then there's something within you, the superpower of sleep, right? So I've discovered it, and I want everybody to discover that and make it a priority. We have to prioritize sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why, you know, the title of the book is called Nobody's Sleeping. In my experience, you know, the general, if you read the press, it will say 30% are not sleeping. But I believe up to 90% of us are not sleeping well, especially with the advent of this device, the most addictive thing that we have all created is the cell phone, right? Oh. So we all want to be on it. Where does the time come from to be on the cell phone? It comes from compromising sleep. You know, young children are, you know, notorious for that. They're spending like 6, 7, 8 hours on their cell phone, and it is coming from sleep.
If my daughter touches my phone, I take it. We're anti-electronics for her.
So that's the greatest thing. Even when my children were younger, we had a time of 9 o'clock. We all put in our phone in a box in the middle of the house, and nobody touched that. You know, it didn't, and they do appreciate now, Dad. That's because it's ingrained in them. You know, when they get too entangled, they just power off. So I teach that.
Yeah, I think it's a consuming thing. It almost like possesses them from that age, and it's kind of scary because unfortunately I have to work from my phone a lot, right?
Yeah, we all do. You know, phone's becoming, you know, a necessity.
It is.
So it's a convenience, but you have to use it, not it control you. You have to use it. Like for GPS, it's helping you.
Yeah.
You see, but
you can't just guess where to go.
Yes. But then all the messages and the light from the phone is messing your brain and affecting your quality of sleep and your thought process. So you have to put it away. So I'm ready to go into I want your audience to, you know, be empowered, and let's go to the strategies if you're ready.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So the title of my book is called Nobody's Sleeping. You know, it came out the title came after a good night's sleep. As I said, it resonates with everybody. The subtitle is the 7 Proven Sleep Strategies. So I have an acronym for that. It's called Sleep Now. So if your viewers are listening, everybody please write it down. SLEEPNOW. That's the 7 strategies. Please do. Yeah. We go one after the other. The first is the S, is the schedule. For any plan to succeed, you have to have a schedule, right? So prioritize sleep between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. Why this time? Because we get a lot of sweet sleep or the great sleep early part of night, and then we get a lot of REM during the morning hours. REM or REM, rapid eye movement, is a sleep. This is a misconception. People say that is the greatest sleep, but it's actually not.
Really?
And it's not great. It is important for memory consolidation, conflict resolution. That's where we dream more, but it's not good for feeling good. The way to feel good is the sweet sleep. It's called stage 3 of non-REM sleep, which actually happens earlier part of the night.
Interesting.
So that's why the schedule to go to bed a little bit earlier is important, because that's the most restful sleep. You know, so 10 to 6, so 8 hours. You know, you can go 10:30, 6:30, whatever. But schedule, prioritize, please. Little caveat here: if you are suffering from insomnia and you go to bed 10 and you can't fall asleep till midnight, please go to bed closer to the time you fell asleep. You don't need to suffer all this time. So that's called sleep restriction, and that's a chapter by itself that you have to, read my book to get into the sleep restriction strategy.
Okay.
So, the next is the L, is the low light, low noise, low temperature. So melatonin, the word mela means darkness. The melatonin, we are the melatonin factory. It's only secreted in colder temperature and darkness. So, but guess what we're doing? We're having the lights from the phone, which is so bad. See, COVID changed everything. You know, we started bringing work to home, and from work to the bedroom.
Yes.
So we're all working on the phone, And the light constantly telling our brain, hey, it's still daytime, no need to go to sleep. The process of melatonin secretion does not happen. So I tell people to keep your phone far away from you and set an alarm. And literally, when you wake up, the alarm rings, go there and press the button, and you're done for the night.
Of course.
But then the thing is, we all wake up. And then when you look at the time, it's 3 o'clock. Then you're like, only 3 o'clock. We don't want to know the concept of time. So eliminate all electronics in your bedroom, set an alarm. And also the notifications come, the text messages, you're tempted to look into it. Hey, how many likes did I get? So it is not, good for our brain. So that's why even when you go to a tropical climate, you don't sleep well because it's, the high temperature is not good for melatonin secretion.
Yeah, we keep our house like 68.
Yes. So experiment between 65 to 70. The colder, the better. So that's the, L. So SLE is the electronics. We already touched on it. Electronics, we have found our match. So keep it away. I tell people to get off the electronics at least 1 hour ideally, but 30 minutes prior.
Okay.
Give your mind a rest. Give it a chance. So we have all this blue light filters, but doesn't matter. Leave it outside your bedroom and try to stay off the electronics. We touched on why the electronics in the melatonin pathway in the previous letter of the acronym.
Of course.
So the next is E, is exercise. Exercise is good, but do not exercise closer to bedtime because you are generating heat. Like I mentioned, heat's not great for sleep. So try to exercise 2-3 hours prior. At least I would say ideally 4, but sometimes society we are working. If your bedtime is 10 p.m., try to be done by 7 if possible.
Okay.
So I work out in the morning, so I'm ready to go. That's actually a great time to work out is in the morning.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah, really? Yeah, so I used to do that, and then I've gotten to where I work first thing, and then I do in the afternoon, usually around like 4 or 5, and then maybe get some more work done after that. But I might actually, things are switching up, so I might have to go to the mornings again and just adjust to that. It may be better.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the P in the acronym is power off your mind. Remember, I'm giving the chance for your mind to power off by not exercising, revving yourself up, and not having electronics by your bedside. So, and I teach 2 techniques. This is unique to me in the world of sleep. One is called vivid imagination. So what happens when you lay in bed? Bedroom is only reserved for sex and sleep, but most people are either worrying or snoring. So when I lay in bed, I go to the abstract. I'm not thinking about anything else. I think about the last movie or last show I watched. I become the director of that show. I don't take on reality, my bills or the projects or whatever I'm doing. I'm done. Yeah. I had a coach and a little bit of a ghostwriter for my book, and they were working so intensely and they were losing sleep, wanting to make my book better. So I'm done at 10. So I had to remind them, hey, I hope you read my book.
Yeah, follow these steps.
So only not reality, only the abstract.
Of course.
So that I've been using this technique for more than 30 years. I lay in bed, I'm thinking about something else, not reality.
I got a question because I heard something about this from a psychologist, and so it's something I do every night.
Yes.
I'm pretty good about not touching electronics. I go actually meditate before bed for like 30 plus minutes, and I sit at my altar, do my prayer, stuff like that. Yeah. And then that's when I get into bed right after that. So I get in a good mental place. And then when I lay down to keep from thinking on other things, because I could always think about work and growth. I think I go to gratitude, and I sit there and remind myself what I'm grateful for. Right. I think of my daughter and my wife and just the little things. And I've noticed it's helped me wake up in a better mood too.
Exactly.
There's science to that, right?
Yeah. So calming your mind down, that's one of the stuff you have to do.
Of course.
And then when in bed, the next technique I teach people is called yoga nidra. So nidra means nothingness, right?
Okay.
That's from the Sanskrit word.
Yes.
And you lay down and you adopt something called the corpse pose. It's called shavasana. Shava means corpse.
Mm-hmm.
You lay down with your palms up, and then just if you have to think about something, you start from the top of your head, the muscles of your face, the neck, the chest, and go all the way down. So this is actually a strategy, progressive muscle relaxation, part of the CBTI or cognitive behavioral therapy of insomnia. So, but it's all connected, whatever the technique. So you are just surrendering yourself and your imagination, not you're using your imagination and trying to relax. But remember, you have to give your chance to your body. You see, we have met our match in the hustle culture, right? We hustle, 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 and we met our match in sleep. Somewhere along the line, like the debt, we're going to meet this match one day, right? So I'm talking about the national debt and also the sleep.
Yeah.
So the hustle culture has met its match in sleep, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can hustle our way into sleep. You cannot do it, right? So we want sleep to be an on and off switch at our command. No, sleep is a dimmer. You have to work it. It is a process. It's an ancient process. So modern society has come. Just the invent of electricity has changed the light into your brain. So you have to work it. You can't get it. You have to slowly work it. So next is in the acronym is No to Worries. NO is the acronym.
Okay.
So I take scheduling worry time between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. Even I was thinking about your show. I emailed you around 6:30. Hey, I'm ready for your show. I don't think anything past 8 p.m. If I can resolve something, I write it down for the next day. So I'm done at 8 p.m. I'm preparing for the 10 p.m. 10 p.m.
That's good.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll have to take note of that. That's definitely take note of that.
Yes, that's a no to worries. Yeah. And then the W is winning. We want to win. In sleep, you only win by losing. So you have to take it easy. There's no win-win-win hustle here. So take it easy. Keep everything simple and prioritize sleep. So that's the Sleep Now acronym, SLEP.
That's the 7 steps.
Yes, that's a 7-step holistic way. So the mind has to rest.
Yeah.
The easy way to remember this is just you're going to an airport. There's a TSA scanner, and just imagine the bedroom door. You're bringing worries to your bed. Beep. You got to leave it out.
Of course.
You're bringing your cell phone to your bed. Beep. You're leaving it out.
Yeah.
So that's the only way your muscle and your body and your mind should rest. But you have to give it a chance. You can't just, turn the switch on, right?
Of course.
So this is the greatest thing. We have everything. I'm anti-medication to sleep, but I do. Sometimes I have to, but most of the time I take people. I've taken of thousands of folks just by practicing this off their medications.
I mean, I'm gonna test it all out. I do got a couple questions for
Yes,
you,
please do.
regarding some of these steps, just kind of connecting with myself.
Yeah.
Pretty good about some of these things, but would you say like natural stuff like magnesium, right? Like I take magnesium glycinate before bed. Would you say like stuff like that is beneficial, or we don't need it?
So magnesium calms your nerves and muscles.
Okay.
So that's the benefit of that.
Okay.
So per se, is it going to put you to sleep? It is taking care of the rest of the stuff.
Okay, cool.
And a little bit of it is helpful also in the melatonin production, so it helps with that. So it is not the answer, it's one of the answers. So you just can't pop a melatonin and then keep your phone right next to your face and then go to sleep. It won't going to happen.
Okay.
So if you have muscle pain, people who are working out, magnesium is good for you.
Okay, cool. Yes. And what about, it said no, like low light and low noise. I have one of those Hatch alarms. It's like a sunset. It has like a certain lighting that kind of goes down with you as you I guess the research behind it helps you rest. And then the light comes on in the morning whenever your alarm goes off. It kind of like, it goes from really dim and kind of brightens up like the sun. Do you think that's ridiculous? And it has a noise, has like a little river sound.
So these are all gadgets.
Yeah, it's a gadget.
So the famous analogy I always give people is that when you're a model, you don't need a lot of makeup. You're naturally beautiful. The most models, they dress casually, right?
Yeah.
So I tried this with my own daughter, this thing, the clock that you're mentioning, and versus my own strategy. She actually was excited about this thing because it gives hope. Mm-hmm. But after a while, it was a nuisance. The light was affecting her. She reverted to my strategies. And long term, those are all short term victories. But the long term, we don't need anything to go to sleep.
Yeah, that's true.
Nothing. Anything you're doing is, most of the time, people take anything is a placebo. It's not helping you to sleep.
That's interesting. I mean, and it's, some people so essentially it could be a waste of money. Yeah.
If that makes you feel good.
Yeah.
That's,
Now I wear earplugs too, though. I don't even had the noise. I put earplugs in just to get things as quiet as I can.
yeah, people are doing complicating. I call it the rituals, multiple rituals. By the time they see me there, about 7 rituals, this and that, I have to unravel and strip them of all the rituals.
Oh.
You just go to bed, you just hit the bed, and you're out.
So and taking it back to like the Sanskrit words,
Yes.
you know, all of these external things, the electronics or whatever, it's unnatural.
You don't need it.
So we need to follow the dharmic way of things, right? You know, the natural way.
Yes, because it's
And
us.
these steps are very natural.
Yes.
They're dharmic.
Yes, this is like hunger is a part of our human function. Sleep is a part of our human function, and if there's no need for sleep, then animals will not be sleep. There is need for us to sleep.
Of course.
It is restorative. It impacts all parts of the body. Alzheimer's can be prevented or delayed by sleeping well because sleep starts the lymphatic system. That's the process that activates all the muck out of our brain. So that gets activated in sleep. The thyroid hormones, even the stress of waking up, creates the surge of norepinephrine. That creates high blood pressure. And of course, we need to talk about sleep disorders a little bit. If you snore, you need to take care of that. If you have limb movement disorder or restless legs, you have to take care of all that. Nightmares, night terrors, especially in children. All those things we need to pay attention to. If you have chronic pain, you need to take off your pain. A comfortable mattress will help there. And then if you have heart problem, lung problem, all those are affecting your sleep. So something you have to look into. So when I see somebody for a sleep problem, I'm talking to them. Since I'm an expert in the other fields, I kind of strip them and say, is it anxiety or depression? Is it a psychological reason? They have a bidirectional relationship. I have to address that. Then is it a medical problem? Then is it just a sleep problem, or you just can't sleep? So I go into all that by the time, so it's just not one approach.
You're able to connect all the dots.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yes.
We're having such a good time.
Yes. We can go for hours, brother.
I know we could. I know you're a busy man, though, so I respect that. Is there anything else you want to say, like you want to throw in today?
So just focus on sleep, because please don't take it for granted. This is the best thing you can do for yourself. That's the best thing you can do for self-care. I have a lot of, stuff online. My company is called Sleep Fix Academy. I'm also known as Dr. Sleep Fix on Instagram. Follow me. I do a lot of videos. Learn with me. As you learn other things, I think this one you have to learn, and just come on the journey with me so you can discover your own power.
I'm on the journey with you.
Yes.
You've got me on board.
Yes.
And there's a reason I was talking to somebody, and, I've had like the stress stuff I've had lately. And a lot of it is due to just the pressure I put on myself.
Yes.
Near-death experience, second chance, I got to go all out.
Yes.
And so there's a massive amount I put upon myself that I need to be better about. And self-awareness is key, right? And, just like understanding you probably are getting crappy sleep when when you realize like maybe you're not doing anything on this list.
Yes.
But, I talked to a girl, I interviewed somebody yesterday. She came on and she's big and she does like frequency therapy and stuff like that. It's all natural stuff, frequencies, and it's all energy. She talked about a lot of that. And then I'm talking to you today and I'm like, it's interesting that like I have this blood pressure thing and here I am having these conversations that I could actually utilize within my life to, improve it.
Yes.
So I think it's very important. It's really cool. So I'm very grateful to have you here.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, don't downplay the power of sleep. You can be better at everything by sleeping better. It is our gift. And also remember, if you can't sleep well, don't lay in bed, right? So just the analogy here is you don't sit at the dinner table to get hungry. You go to the dinner table when you're hungry, right? So you lay in bed when you're ready to go to bed. So don't struggle. If you're struggling, leave the room. I know the struggle of not sleeping, or waking up. That's one technique I forgot to mention. So leave the room, come back. So sleep well and be well, everyone.
Yeah, that's you said that. I had a friend. She told me she works in a lot of the holistic stuff as well. They're on Float Nashville.
Yeah.
But she said, like my wife goes to bed before I do. She's like, but Joe, a lot of people can't force themselves to go to bed at a certain time. Like your body will tell you.
Yes.
You just got to be intuitive.
Yes.
Same thing with food. I don't eat unless I'm hungry. If I'm full, I'm stop. I don't have to get it all in. I know my body's going to react the best. And if I make myself full, I'm going to be miserable, may even sleep worse because of that, right?
Yes.
So it's very important to point out. But I do got to ask you, you're good there with everything?
Yeah, good, perfect.
Awesome. Well, thank you for all the value. But there's a question I ask everybody that comes on here. So within both your personal life and your professional life, be two answers, one answer, whatever. What is your relentless pursuit?
So the relentless pursuit for me is to be the best version of myself. So the connection is, so I always focus on family, friends, fitness, and faith. So these are the pillars of my life. So I'm always saying, where is my balance? You have to first get it, be the best yourself. You have to work on yourself. The next, I work on my family, because the people that are closest to you are your best judge. You can get the world, and if you lose that connection, so I'm very, very strong with my family. So that's the next. And then fitness is important, because without fitness, your body is slowly rotting. You have to, rev it up. It's like a tune-up for. And then also faith, because there are so many things in our life we don't have an answer. The closure of your life is with faith. So focus on all that. But the most important thing, I focus on myself. Where am I in all this journey? And then every day I go to bed, I'm content. I'm ready to take the next day on.
I love it. I mean, hey, you brought me some peace. You know what I'm saying? So you're great to talk to, and I'm excited. I'm grateful for you coming in and just learning from you and understanding things on a deeper level. And I just appreciate your time, and I look forward to next time.
Awesome time. Thanks, man. We're all in the same walk. I always feel people are all like particles. We are just bouncing. Some stick, some bounce. So it is up to us to have that and have a great journey in this life.
I love it. Hey, Dr. John, thank you for coming in.
Thanks, Joseph.
Yes, sir. All right. Y'all take care.